Welcome to Sports Close-Up. Mike Fiorillo, co-host Jim Berger. Jim, good to see you again.
Mike, thank you.
Here today's special show, we're going to talk about different what's going on in the world of sports. Here, a little round table. We got two distinguished guests with us, Jim, from the Meadville Tribune. To my far left, next to Jim, Matt DiGiacomo. Matt, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
That's been a fixture at the Tribune for many, many years. And then the new kid on the block here at the Tribune, Jordan, welcome, and pronounce your last name so I don't mess it up.
Hansgen, Jordan Hansgen.
And how's it been going?
It's been going great. Yeah, we the summer's been a little bit of a lull stage, after baseball finished up. But
then you got to cover the Legion.
Yeah,
a little bit?
yeah, the Legion, Little League. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun seeing the community. You have the community teams play pretty well, I thought.
And Jim, as you and I are, Jordan's not an avid golfer.
Avid golfer, yeah. Talk about his golf game. Does avid mean you're good avid, or avid
you just
means
play
you
a
go
lot?
a lot? I go a lot. I'm not good.
Yeah, I shot an 86.
That'll work.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
so
that's good.
But that's like the best I've done. So
Wow, that's really
I'll take it.
No mulligans, right?
One.
Okay.
First topic.
87.
First topic I want to bring up: the Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers. Are they relevant again since they added LeBron? Guys, take it away.
If by relevant you mean will they make it into the playoffs? Yes. If you think they're going to compete for a title this year, no, they still don't have enough. I don't think they have enough to beat Houston either. And depending on what the Thunder still do to put with Westbrook and George, they might not have enough to beat them either.
I agree with that. I think short term the Lakers are not there yet. They are, but the LeBron effect will create, you'll have Kawhi Leonard wanting to go there. Really, anyone should want to go there. You should want to play with LeBron James. I mean, it's an automatic title contention. As soon as he gets extra guys to join him in Los Angeles, he didn't get that. He didn't get Paul George, but it's still it's a short-term thing right now, and long-term the Lakers will be successful.
Is it a place to go again in LA? A Laker game since LeBron's going to be wearing that uniform this year? Will the Jack Nicholsons and so forth return to the Lakers and, the sidelines and, would people in Hollywood want to be there again?
I'm not sure they ever left.
Okay.
I just don't think it was as much of a focus because the Lakers weren't winning.
Mm-hmm.
When the Lakers were winning, then you saw Jack Nicholson with his towel and everyone else, yapping at the other players running up and down the court. When you're not winning, you don't do those kind of things as a fan. So I think you'll probably see them on camera more, but I don't think they ever left, really.
Will they be on more prime time?
Probably. I think that's a given.
I thought they had a little bit too much primetime last year.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to be very interested to see how LeBron interacts with Ball and the Ball family and Papa Ball. Because he's the most outlandish fellow in sports. I'm sure he can go out there and create a feud just to do something, or he will start trash talking LeBron. He's overrated. My son's better. He's going to do something like that. I can picture something crazy like that happening because the guy doesn't seem to have any respect for anyone. He wants to be all about himself. He wants to make his own story. So I'm very interested in that fight. I will definitely take LeBron over him, but I want to see how that dynamic's going to go.
They said, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, I have a feeling you won't see that for one reason only. When push comes to shove, Ball wants to be in LA. You don't pick a fight with the best guy on the team because Magic Johnson's not going to move LeBron.
Right.
He's going to move Ball.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Was this a
but does
move?
Daddy care?
Was this a move Magic Johnson had to make, though? People were saying LA hadn't done much.
He wanted to keep his job.
Yeah. He had to make a big splash.
And I think he pretty much said that himself. If this team isn't a title contender in 2 years, he'll quit himself.
Yeah.
Which I think was kind of just trying to call the storm, so to speak, because, one person in a GM spot or a president spot it cannot change the dynamic of a team in 1 year.
Right.
The thing that's fascinating with LeBron, though, is that it's not really what Magic Johnson does. It's just what LeBron wants. And, the recruitment of LeBron is just, if LeBron wants to go to your team, he's going to go to your team. He's not really, I don't think Magic Johnson needed to do much to get LeBron to go there. I think that this was kind of the plan all along.
Although he did stay outside his house an hour before? It was
He did.
allowed to
He
talk
did.
to him,
He,
park himself out
he
there.
sat for an hour. I think that's just how like LeBron likes to know that
Right.
he's changed the NBA. How players
Yes.
now have so much more power in that sport, more so than any other sport. You see Le'Veon Bell can't get a deal. You see
Yeah.
hockey players getting paid less than
Yeah.
bench players in the NBA, and like it's just basketball is totally different now because of the LeBron effect.
And reports are, and Jim, I think you told me a little bit about this too. I guess his son is the next upcoming fabulous player.
Yeah, that's. I think he's already being courted. I guess I saw the other day he's been on an official visit to Duke. He's like one of the best AAU players in the nation already, from what I've seen. It'd be interesting because LeBron's what, 33, 34.
Yeah.
How long will he stay around? Is Los Angeles his last stop? Is he waiting for his son? Maybe he'll get a chance to play with him. I don't know. Is he waiting until the Lakers are contenders every year? I don't know, but that I kind of want to see what happens. Will they both play in the league at the same time? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot that may have to do. Will NBA will they rescind the
Right.
the college rule and all that stuff? But I mean, that'll be interesting to develop. It'll be cool. Actually, LeBron's son is an AAU star. He was actually playing in like suburban Pittsburgh the night before, the night after LeBron signed a deal. They're like, LeBron signed the biggest deal in NBA history, and his kid's playing in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, in like an AAU tournament. So that was pretty cool. I guess there was paparazzi everywhere, but no,
yeah.
that'll be interesting to see how that will develop.
Okay, now we looked at the Lakers. Where did the Cavs go now? What did the Cavs do? I mean, their star is gone.
They instantly became the Kevin Love Timberwolves of 2000. Like it's the Kevin Love team. They just re-signed him. In the East,
East isn't
that
strong,
might be good
but
enough to make the
playoffs,
playoffs
right?
at 8 seed if Colin Sexton's good. I mean, that they stay in mediocrity. It would probably be better for them long term to fall off, but I don't think their last shift when LeBron left, it was just a sudden drop to the bottom, and I don't think the Cavaliers want to do that to their fans again. So I think that's why they extended Kevin Love. That's why they didn't pull the plug on everything.
when you see LeBron leave, you're a Cav fan. I've heard a couple of Cav fans now. Hindsight's great, right? But they're saying maybe we should let LeBron go last year and kept our guard.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I think they could have done that, but yeah, I mean trading LeBron from
could've got a lot
Cleveland would be unbelievable.
Their hands were tied. They actually couldn't do that.
They couldn't do
You're right.
it, yeah.
But it would probably, in hindsight, it would have been a better move for them. They could have got a first-round pick and some players, obviously. Matt, what do you think?
I mean, at that point, did the guard want to stay? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that asked. He's the one that said he wanted out.
Right.
Did he want out of Cleveland? Period.
Is that
Or did he just want to get away? I know the everyone's trying to say he wanted to lead his own team.
Right.
And
Of course, he got hurt anyway. But
yeah. And then then the Celtics found out, hey, you know what? We got a guard who's almost just as good as him now. Anyway, so
I got to bring up this team because at one time this team was, and for a long time in the NBA, this team was a great organization. During the media capital of the world in New York, what has happened to the New York Knicks? I mean, they have gone to below mediocrity. I mean, they're at the bottom of everything in the NBA, and they're in New York. It can't be money.
Their owner is
pocketing most of that money. That's the problem.
And then when he does spend, he spends it on the most over the hill,
Unwise.
foolish, unwise investments.
Unwise player decisions, unwise
Coaches.
management decision,
Yeah.
unwise coaching decisions, and you have one of those, you might have a down year.
Yeah,
And
down
rebound
here.
from it.
Yeah, right.
When you have all three over and over again, I thought
They've
Phil
been relevant
Jackson.
since Van Gundy was let go.
I thought Phil Jackson was going to be. I thought that was the move that was going to turn things around. But I think Phil proved that what he can do, sitting on the bench on the sideline, is not anywhere close to what he.
His
No,
player
you're getting
personnel
movement.
decisions were
Yeah.
pretty.
Right.
were pretty
You give him the
flawed,
great
too.
players. He can lead
Yeah.
anybody. He can lead a horse to water and make it drink, but he can't find
Right.
the horse. You have to give him the horse.
and that's been depressing for people like myself who come from New York. The Knicks are every year, they're not even going to be relevant. They might win 40 games, maybe. And it's kind of sad. But wanted to bring up LeBron. Here's another topic that I want to get into a little bit, and this deals with New York too. And hopefully you guys saw this. Yankee catcher Gary Sanchez came back from the DL. They were playing a game. I think it was against Tampa. It was a wild pitch, and the guy on second base was on second base for Tampa. And Sanchez actually almost walked off after the ball, which was up the third baseline. The guy scored from second. At the end of the game, Yankees had the bases loaded, and there was 2 outs, and Sanchez hit a weak grounder towards third, and he actually literally trotted, blowing a bubble, the first. Third baseman for the Rays, because it was slowly, he gunned it to second. Aaron Hicks beat that throw from first to second. Second baseman, being really alert, looked up, saw Sanchez was jogging, fired at the first, and the game was over. The next day, Sanchez goes back on the DL. Are they protecting him by putting him back on the DL? I mean, if he was good enough to play that game and made 2 plays that were, and all the Yankee announcers, Paul O'Neill says, you can't do that to your team. You cannot not hustle. What's going on there?
I personally think he was injured. I do. I think they rushed him back because I don't think, just to save face, you don't put a guy who can hit 40 home runs on a disabled list for 2 weeks. I do think that he was injured.
That was their mistake.
I believe they rushed him back. You shouldn't have let him play. You ask him, maybe DH him that game or something like that, ease him into the lineup. I don't know, did he go into minor league rehab or anything? Or
Nope.
I think they could have done a little bit better, bringing him along from the injury. I think they rushed him back. That's just my opinion. I did see the play, and when I first saw it on Twitter that night, I was aghast as well. But then it turns out, he just came off in a DL with a groin pull. He's going back on the DL. So I believe the player in this situation.
Yeah, and especially like you said, you use him at DH, especially catcher.
Yeah,
that's the hardest position on the field. I mean, if you have coming off of groin injury, knee injuries, ankle injuries, anything like that, where you got to get up and down, up and down, up and down, that is not a position you want to be playing.
It just kind of stinks for the Yankees too, because really every game counts for them, being down 5.5, 6 games.
To the
I
Red
mean,
Sox,
this
who just win
series
every
coming
day,
up.
by the
The
way.
series coming up is going to be their season.
Yeah. The Red Sox win
essentially.
every game.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they're
40-something over
they're
500.
incredible. And
There's 5 teams right now that have a better record than Cleveland. Cleveland's going to get in and win that division. But there's 5 other teams in the American League, 3 in the West, 2 in the East, that have a better record than Cleveland.
Cleveland won that division in what, May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you're right about Sanchez. And one thing I did respect, that when he came out that night in front of the media and reporters, which is in New Yorkers a lot, and said, through an interpreter, I was wrong. I didn't hustle. It's all on me. And I apologize for playing like that. But then I was curious when they put him back on the DL. So I kind of think what Jim said. I think management and the trainers, and maybe Aaron Boone to a certain extent, wanted him back in that lineup.
And if a manager tells you, hey, you good to play, he's only in his 3rd year, right? You're not going to say, no,
Yeah, Sanchez
give me a
is
couple
3rd
more
year.
days.
Right.
You don't give a guy that option.
Right.
All right, guys, let's shift topics a little bit. Major League trade deadline's upon us. Any big moves that got you guys excited? I mean, there's no Justin Verlander out there this year.
Harper.
But, yeah, well, talk about that. Jim mentioned that before off camera.
It's picking up steam. If they get an
all of a
offer,
sudden?
no, because I think I think the Nationals know he's gone,
And they know
and
they're not
they
gonna win.
gotta get rid of him.
And they
It's
must
time.
And they given up then on this season.
I mean, you see it in other sports. The Islanders
Right.
lost John Tavares
Right.
because they didn't pull the trigger at the trade
Yeah.
deadline because of the chance that he could come back. With Bryce Harper, I think it's pretty obvious there's no chance he's coming back. He's going to be a Yankee or a Cub next year.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think he's going to L.A.
LA?
I think the Angels.
I've heard the
I'd like to
Cubs
see him with
a
the
lot.
Angels.
I think the Angels will make a big run
Oh,
for
really?
him.
Imagine
I
him.
don't think the Yankees
Trout.
just spent all
Exactly.
just cut salary and hat.
And
you
they got Stanton. They don't really need an outfielder right now.
right.
Yeah.
But
I was leaning mostly towards Cubs. I think
Cubs
the
could be,
yeah.
but I've heard lately now the Angels might make it because Pujols is probably going to phase him out, and they want somebody with Trout.
Harper, Trout, Ohtani. That's not a bad.
Ohtani.
Very good.
But anyway,
One of the trade rumors I heard was one of the teams that contacted the Nationals yesterday was the Indians.
Yeah.
I heard that
That's the
too.
first
Now,
one
how
I
much
heard.
did they give up for him?
Well, they would need pitching because the Nationals are also going to be losing Gio Gonzalez, and
so you give up your big pitcher if you're Cleveland?
they're not going to give up their big pitcher, but they have a couple prospects. The question is, do they give up one? Do they give up them both? Do they?
Well, if I'm
give up one of them
trading
and a
Harper,
young
I
kid?
want as much as I can get for him.
Right. No, that's just it. They're gonna be looking for probably if I'm the Nationals trading Harper, even for a rental, I'm looking for 2 pitching prospects at least.
Right.
And they said that the one that is off limits is actually the Bieber guy, Shane Bieber,
Right.
who the Pirates actually rocked last week at the game that I was at, but I'll digress. But it is
Jim's
tough.
a big Pirate fan.
It is tough, like you said, it's a rental. You know, how
Right.
much are you willing to give up? And the Indians, like Jordan said, they've had this Division I for 3 months already. You know, do they need this extra? I mean, when you get to the playoffs, of course
Can
you
Cleveland sign him?
long term? Nah.
Why?
I just don't think he would want to.
They've got.
They want to be Cleveland?
I think he'd want a big city.
What about
This
the
is his
Mets
personality.
signing him at the offseason? I mean, the Mets got this pitching they're not going to let go. They don't
Right.
have any kidding. The Mets have money.
They do.
I mean, they're paying Bonilla every year $1 million still. Yeah,
Well,
which was
but
a
see
joke.
that they're paying him that, but it's all coming out. They stuck that money
Right.
in a slush fund, so
Right.
it's just coming out of there. They're not really paying it
exactly.
out of their pocket.
So
So
why can't the Mets go after? I mean, the Mets need to make us. They're in New York with the Yankees.
They
Yankees are
could.
dominating New York.
they could make a splash and try and sign him.
The thing is, though,
If he
like
wants
you
to go to
said,
New
does
York.
he want to go to New
Their
York?
their prestige would be their prestige. They're going to need to overpay. Like, they're going to need to outpay the Cubs by a lot,
Right.
the Dodgers by a lot.
Yeah, but
It's
they-
a lot easier for the Cubs and the Dodgers to say, "Hey, listen, we're like on the cusp of a
Right.
World Series,"
Right.
and the Mets are our batting average is like 200.
We have the best one of the best pitching staffs, but we can't score a run.
Yeah, poor
right.
DeGrom. What is he, a 169
You know,
ERA?
DeGrom might win. He might win the Cy Young with 8 wins.
And have a losing record, yeah.
He's got a 1.50 ERA. The other night against the Pirates, I was at the game. He got 2 or 3 hits for the Mets.
Yeah,
So maybe we should play him every day.
that was the third pitcher in that group.
Wheeler.
Wheeler had
They hit
their
the-
only drove in the only
Yeah.
run on a 1-0 win the other
Yeah.
night.
He was impressive that game. He was, you know, going back.
Well,
to
his ERA since late May is 3.89, something like that. 3.
Yeah.
And he was on the block, I heard, but
Yeah,
I think
they
that after
pulled him
Sunday,
back,
But going back to the Nationals, and I
Yeah.
will admit I was wrong. I think I predicted them in our
did.
early season show that they're going to make a run this year. But
They did make a run. The 3rd place.
yeah, really, the losing record. You know, I can't believe that they're 3 games under.
So they're going to
500
fire their manager every 2 years. They get a new manager,
Yeah.
like it's the manager's fault. Dusty
Yeah.
Baker was surprised letting him go. He's
Yeah.
won every place he's been.
Yep. Who was before him? They had some big name
Davey
managers
Johnson
in there.
wanted
Johnson.
Davey Johnson had him in, and he said, "Let's use Strasburg." They wouldn't let him
Frank Robinson
because
was
they
there?
said, "Oh, we'll be there every year." And look what's happened since.
That was the year,
Yeah.
the Strasburg.
You don't
year.
do that.
That
when you
probably
get there.
jinxed them right there. I mean, that was it.
You got to when you have a chance to win it all.
Right.
You do it. Like when the Cubs traded for Chapman, knowing they weren't going to resign him, and they gave up Gleyber Torres, who
Yeah.
was going to be a great player for the Yankees. They said we're all in. What about the Pirates, guys? Pirates surprised you this year? I mean, they're hanging on to the wild card. They're only at this taping 3.5, 4 games out.
Right. They are surprising, especially this winning streak they're on. That just I don't know where it came from, to be honest.
They've won 17 out of 21 games.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
On the heels of playing their worst baseball of the year, too.
yeah. I don't know where the offense is coming from. I don't know where the pitching is coming from. I mean, they have some decent pitchers, but nothing that you would say, oh, that's a staff. That's not.
Potentially,
That's not Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine
right.
out there. They're-
Potentially, I think they could be a heck of a staff, though. They're young. I
Yeah.
mean, they got some good arms pitching.
And don't underestimate what they got in that trading Cole to Houston. The pitcher
No.
they got was decent, and that third baseman,
He's leading America.
Is-
he's leading rookies in RBIs there.
yeah, is really good. I mean, they got.
Can't run though, but he can feel it.
He can grow
You don't
beard.
have to run. You don't have to run. You should know this as a Yankee fan watching Don Mattingly. I remember one game
Good
watching
point.
him, and he hit a triple,
Yeah.
and the announcer said that was the most exciting
Yeah.
2 minutes in sports.
Exactly. That's a good point.
That's good.
That's a good point, Matt.
But,
go ahead, Jim.
I was looking at the lineup. I mean, I never thought that they'd score 6 or 7 runs a game at the beginning of the year or anything like that. But I was much more comfortable with a lineup at the beginning of the year than I was with the pitching staff. But here it is, you know. They've got, is it a fluke at this point? You know, 100 games into the season. Trevor Williams, he never impressed me. I'm not going to lie, I was worried he was going to be like the next Jeff Locke have a good half year, and then everyone figures it out. But he seems to, he's thrown 2 shutouts in a row. Joe Musgrove's a gamer. I mean, the guy's a dude.
Joe Musgrove is a big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyon has the pedigree. Kingham's been fine as a rookie call-up.
They're all young.
Yeah.
And they got the young closer.
Yeah, Vasquez, and now they have a new new reliever in the back end of the bullpen, and Keone Kella. So
I think they need to get Dickerson back from the DL. He's a key. He's a big catalyst on their offense.
But it's been fun to watch. I mean, I never thought they'd lose 100 games like a lot of people said at the beginning of the year. But I will say I'm the biggest Pirates fan here, and I didn't think that they would be, in contention this late. I'm pleasantly surprised.
And I'm a big Hurdle fan. I've always been. I think he does a great job with a lot less talent than other people have. But, if you look at their outfield, they got talent out there. Right. Polanco runs like a deer. He can go after anything.
Marte, too.
Marte, he starts hitting like he's been hitting, They got young talent in Triple and Double A all over the place.
Meadows is going to be the best guy out of that group.
I think Meadows is going to be an all-star.
Yeah.
When he settles down and relaxes, I think he's going to be a stud. I agree with you. But they said they have talent in their Double A. The best Double A talent is in Pittsburgh. That's Double A. Triple A, they're loaded. So, maybe that's why they never sign anybody long term. Just keep getting young people.
Yeah.
But they do draft well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about gambling a little bit. Is this going to affect pro sports? And what do you guys think?
I don't think it will. I mean, there's been gambling going on in pro sports for years and years and years. It's just been done illegally. Now it'll be done legally. You don't have to worry about someone with the last name like Fiorello DiGiacomo coming to break a kneecap or a knuckle if you don't pay up.
Tell them about our side job.
I think it really is only going to bring more positives to sports. Like a sport like baseball, they've been struggling a little bit with attendance or like audience and viewership. The games every day, people putting money on something every day. I think it's gonna help a sport like that. The NFL, I think the NFL is going to take off. People are going to be able to bet on a drive,
especially when you put
in the stadium. You're going to be able to say, I think that this guy's going to score on this possession. And once they get the apps going and use the technology for it, I think it's going to be these leagues are going to be raking in money.
So you think that how about with people themselves though? There's going to be more people selling their homes and foreclosures because they're putting all their money on teams.
It's like any sort of like addictive thing. Like you gotta be careful. You gotta be sensitive about it. You gotta know that some people shouldn't be doing it. Some people should think that they have the ability to do it when they don't really have the financial means for it. It's a dangerous thing. It's like alcohol or anything that people do.
Yeah, but like I said, a lot of these people have been doing this already.
Just colleges too, though, right? You could pick college games.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You see a big increase people betting on the Gators, Jim?
Well, I wonder. Well, the way it is now,
Allegheny Gators.
Even in Vegas, you can only bet on the big D1 games. There's a lot of no lines and stuff like that. I wonder, will it be other sports? Because football and basketball have always been bet on, like you said. In baseball,
hockey.
But like in college, will there be bets on college soccer, college volleyball?
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
How in depth will that go?
But that's only going to be D1.
I don't know. That's a very good question. I wonder that as well. And I talked to Jeff a lot about this off camera, about the influence that it won't bother the pro players because they've been facing it, but
especially the salary they make today.
Right, but some of these college kids, I think they may be easily influenced. I don't want to be naive about this,
especially at those smaller sports.
Right, or some of the smaller D1 schools, like the best 30 for 30. I think in the whole series was about the Goodfellas guys. Throwing Boston College games, and I think that's a very real possibility. I think that happens.
You had CCNY back in New York,
and San Francisco University. I think back in the '60s. So I think that college kids, I think, will be much more and easily influenced and much more accessible. I believe. So I wonder how that's going to happen.
I don't think you'll see a lot of expansion as far as what's being bet on. I think the main four are going to stay football, basketball, baseball, and hockey.
But I think one is going to come in there will be soccer. Because soccer.
You think so? I don't think there's enough interest in this.
Well, I think a lot of different areas like Seattle and so forth, they pack those stadiums in Seattle to see soccer.
It's big
Biggest.
among the young crowd. Soccer
It is.
huge.
Yeah,
huge.
and they like I said, Seattle, they sell out every game. I don't know what their team's called, but
Sounders, yeah.
Sounders. They have like season tickets and they're selling out, and people.
LAFC
flock.
is an expansion team, and they're
But the Seattle doesn't have.
losing it, yeah.
All they have is soccer
That's
and
their only
football
sport
now.
now.
so-
Right. That's right. That's a good point. That's all they have is soccer, and football. Vegas is going to have football next year.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Vegas and football. You guys see who the Oakland Raiders signed for their new radio play-by-play man?
Oh, speaking of gambling, right? Old Musburger.
Brett Musburger.
Right. That's right.
Because they're going to go to to Vegas next year. So and he's going to take over this year as their play-by-play radio guy. How old is Brett? About 80. So that's an interesting move. I mean, but he has something work. He has some kind of a firm in Vegas, doesn't he, Jim?
I'm sure he has a couple, a lot of business interests in Vegas.
The
Yeah.
Raiders are turning back the clock in a lot of ways. I mean, you got Gruden showing his players 1970s film, and
It's gonna be
the
interesting to
players
play.
couldn't really see the TV. They couldn't really see what was going on.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the NFL training camps, guys. Antonio Brown makes a splash. He enters with the helicopter ride into the field. But you know what? He's the best receiver in football. I like Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
So, he had his family with him. I think that people got a big kick out of that. But I want to touch on real quickly James Harrison's comment when he said Belichick's a better coach than Tomlin because he's better control of his team. Why does he say that now?
Because he took advantage of Tomlin and he probably tried to do the same stuff with Belichick and he wouldn't fly.
Well, why
he
does
never
he make
practiced.
that public comment now?
He never went to training camp. He practiced in one training camp in the last 3 years. He slept in meetings. Tomlin let him get away with it, and I don't think Belichick did. So
I don't know. As far as I remember, I think James Harrison lost the same number of Super Bowls with Tomlin as he did with Belichick, right?
that's also true.
So, I don't know how he could decide in 1 year.
But does he make that comment because he didn't like the way he left the Steelers? I mean, it was like a personal direct hit towards something.
Right.
It absolutely was.
I think that's exactly what it was about.
Yeah. But I mean, they're really not. They're not a lot of comparisons you can make. I mean, Belichick's coached way longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of unfair criticism of Tomlin, but also I guess Belichick is better. I mean, he has 6 Super Bowls?
5 Super
it's-
Bowls,
it's an
3
unfair
losses.
comparison.
Lost to Eli twice.
What was it? $100 million
Eli
fine
twice,
for
yeah.
cheating. Let's not forget the bad stuff.
And you do hear a lot of his ex-players coming out and say, man, that was terrible playing for him. You don't hear a lot of
Wasn't
players
fun,
actually
yeah.
say that they enjoyed playing for him. Yeah, they
Right.
like going to the Super Bowl every year, but it wasn't fun.
Where
It
the
does-
Eagles are saying, yeah, we won a Super Bowl and it was fun.
Right.
Our Super Bowls are way more fun than any of their 6 were.
And I think the Steelers could say that to an extent too. I think they enjoy playing in Pittsburgh.
Right, yeah.
So looking at that, are those two teams the favorite in their conference? Training camp's just about getting underway, but right now on paper, are the Patriots the favorite in the East? I would think.
I would say so.
Steelers still the favorite in the Central?
In the North,
I think in the North, yeah.
In the North, yeah.
I think the teams that are dangerous to knock off either of those two are the Chargers, who were really good at the end of last year.
Right. How about the 49ers?
I
They
still
came
think
on.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, I worry about Jacksonville. Yeah.
Because they showed that they could hang with New England,
Yep.
and they only had one half of a game plan because their offensive coordinator is not that great. And then
Did they get
had
a new one or did they keep
No, they kept him. But I mean,
Well, that's not a good
Doug
move.
Marrone's pretty stagnant. And
Right.
then
Not the Niners.
the Texans with Watson's pretty good.
It's not the Niners, though. They came on when they got Jimmy Gaffo from the...
Yeah, the NFC is very open, but there's a lot more good teams in the NFC.
Okay.
Yeah. And he came on at the end of the year when a
Yeah.
lot of teams were benching people because
True.
they'd already made the
With
playoffs. So
Right.
what does he really? What did we really see from him? To really,
Is Barkley...
I think he's gonna be pretty good.
Barkley going to help the Giants get back to the playoffs?
I think no.
Only if they take the ball out of Eli Manning's hands.
Well, they will if the Barkley runs.
I just think
But
you're still going to
They
need
can't run
Eli.
Barkley 50 times, and
A line?
You're still going to need Eli to produce
Right.
in games you're losing because you're not going to be leading the Eagles much.
Well,
They're
does
still
Beckham
out
coming
of
back help Eli? You got Beckham back there.
He does, yeah. I
he
mean,
does, but that's still only one receiver.
and the NFC, as I said earlier, they're stacked. You got 3 teams in the NFC South that are very good.
All right, so what about
in the North.
What about America's team? Did they come back?
And I guess it's kind of the same thing. Like their quarterback kind of limits them. Dak, I like Dak, but he's not. He's very limited in his skill set. There's a reason he was a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
Is that he's not. He doesn't have an incredibly strong.
Is he
arm.
better than Tony Romo was?
No.
Wow.
I think Romo
Wow.
was. I think he was.
I think Romo did much more.
It's the classic.
last.
It's the classic Cowboys thing where they hype up the next guy. Oh, this guy's
Yeah.
so much better than Romo.
No.
I think they didn't appreciate how
They-
good Tony Romo.
Yeah, they
was.
didn't know what they had with him.
Yeah.
Are the Vikings better, quarterback-wise?
Yes. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is he almost threw for 5,000 yards,
Right.
I think, 2 years ago.
Right.
With maybe, and it was a decent receiving core. It was Deshaun Jackson, Crowder, but it wasn't elite. It's not something that the Steelers go to work with every year. The Rams have, but yeah, I like the Vikings a lot.
You
this
better
year.
get used to it because I don't think the Vikings have an elite receiving core either. So.
Right.
I
mean,
think
it's
they were doing pretty well in spite of Case Keenum being what he is. He's not an elite quarterback, and they were catching some crazy passes for him.
Now, when did the Jets play their rookie quarterback? Because they picked up Bridgewater and they got the guy that last year, but the kid they drafted was supposed to be one of the top quarterbacks that came out of the draft. Did the Jets mess around and don't play him? Did they play him early? Did they let him sit a year? You never know with that organization. That's my
I would be quite surprised if he didn't start from day one.
Really? So would you sign Bridgewater?
From the reports that just in case.
Okay.
I mean, you need a backup either way.
Right.
Still McCown too.
McCown, I think, is there to help the young kid.
Yeah,
Right.
and he seems to
doesn't mind
He
that.
seems to like that role
Right.
too.
I mean, McCown was the first one to greet him yesterday on the field because he knows there's the guy I'm backing up. Yeah.
So you think he's going to start from?
I think he will. They, from what I was, and it's hard to tell. First day of training camp, and the reports were that he was already the best guy, even though he made mistakes.
Right. And he's going to make mistakes. And then the Browns, are they going to start their rookie quarterback right away?
He won't.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they like Tyrod, and as a Bills fan, I can say that Tyrod can get you. He can get you wins, and the Browns just kind of want to be competent. They want to show that they're relevant. They want to compete, and I think that throwing Mayfield to the dogs is probably not the best choice of action for their organization. For the Jets, I mean, you're already kind of treading your tires, and Tyrod's a better quarterback than both McCown and Bridgewater at this point, and Bridgewater could be better because he started out better, but.
I'm still surprised how eager Buffalo was to get rid of Tyrod. I mean, I don't know.
surprised,
That
too.
really
I think
flummoxed
they got an offer that they couldn't refuse. I think that they were anticipating a 6th or 7th round pick for Taylor, and when the Browns came in and offered them the first pick in the 3rd round, they couldn't pass it up, and they knew that they were treading their tires with him. Like they knew that they weren't going to get any better than losing in the 1st round or just missing out in the playoffs. I mean, it took a crazy Andy Dalton play just to get there. But I like what the Bills did, and I think that I didn't like that they got McCarron and Peterman to be with Allen. I don't think he's learning from the best other quarterbacks. But if they got Allen for what they see in him, they should probably just play him right away.
I think
Let him learn.
The mistake the Browns made is when they got rid of the coach. They ended up in Jacksonville.
The Bills? You mean?
Bills, I mean, yeah.
Well, he quit.
Why did you quit a job? I mean, something had to be going on.
He quit because he found a loophole, and he didn't like where the quarterback situation
That's
was.
what I meant. There must be something.
It was because they had Kyle Orton and EJ, and then Kyle Orton retired, so then they just had EJ.
Going back to your comments about Tyrod, I think that's the exact reason why if Mayfield shows even an inkling better in the preseason, he will start from the beginning.
Oh well, they've said it over and over again that Tyrod's guaranteed the whole year. Yeah.
And
they could change it.
I've heard that many
Cleveland says a lot of
times.
things last year.
Yeah.
And again, their first quarterback pick last year is now with the Packers, and he's in a good position to learn a lot from Aaron Rodgers and an organization that's first class in every aspect. So I look for him to have a decent career someday. which will make Brown fans go crazy. But you guys realize the third week of this third NFL Thursday night game is that blockbuster game. It's the Jets at the Browns. So somebody's going to get a win.
Plenty of good tickets still available.
That's right. Plenty of good tickets. And it's on the NFL. No, it's on Fox.
Yeah, they're on Fox now,
Thursday
yeah,
night.
so-
How about the big storyline for that might be Darnold against Mayfield.
Exactly. Battle of two young quarterbacks. Yeah, and somebody will get a win.
We know we're getting McCown versus Taylor for that one.
Probably. Unless both teams are 0-2 already. Now here we go. Something you guys might know a lot about. The new transfer rules in PA. You hear a lot of this, private, public. I'm excited because it irks me to heck when Meadville has to play teams that can recruit and get players everywhere. And I don't care in the regular season, but when you're in the playoffs, I don't think it's fair. But anyway, you guys, what's your take on these things? Matt?
I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
You don't?
No, because, instead of having to play this team that's upper level, you got to play the team down here who's just as good. Instead of having to place the team that would be in your group because they had to move up to Class 5, now you got to play the team that was in 3 that's moving up to 4.
So they're not going to make it a separate playoff then?
No. And if they do,
Wow, they should.
if they do, it's going to hurt the public schools even more.
Why?
Because I think the private schools will pull out and accept any transfer they want. There'll be no transfer rules in private schools. You can come in and do whatever you want.
That's true. That's a good way
Unless
to
the
think
state
about it.
puts some restrictions.
They can't.
From
It's private business. How are you going to restrict private business?
in Buffalo, where I'm from, the private schools aren't allowed to
Right.
compete for state championships. They have their own
Right.
conference, and they do their own thing. And I
See?
don't
And you
think
see
they're
it.
transferred.
They got this. Who is it up there that just pulls guys out of Canada and wherever they want
Canisius, yeah.
For-
Canisius
for
does
the
that.
pl-
They play Cathedral Prep a lot.
to go around and just play football, and then they go back to Canada.
But I don't think it. I don't think it
they
necessarily.
do.
I don't. Yeah, no, they do. They absolutely do that. Yeah, they send them back in
Wow.
January after the season's
Yeah.
done. But I don't think I went to Orchard Park, which is one of the better football programs up there. But yeah, I don't think the transfer rules. I don't think they even have any in New York because they'd have no jurisdiction over the Catholic schools. But I don't think it necessarily hurts our team. I think it's just better for the public schools. They have more of a chance to
Right.
win something.
Win a state championship. I mean, the private and the what do you call it? The private schools and the somebody help me. The other things that are coming.
Charter schools.
Charter schools, thank you, are dominating Pennsylvania's. Look at Meadville 2 years ago. They actually made it to the states, had an incredible run to get on that. You knew they didn't have a prayer against that. I mean, so
Well, it seems to be the schools out east are the ones that are really. I know
Big time.
you say what you want about Cathedral Prep, but it seems like they're a little more regional, at least.
They are regional.
But out in Philly,
Yeah.
they got kids coming from New York, from Delaware.
or the
That-
team Meadville played
Yeah.
that kid from Jersey. on
Right,
their roster
Jersey,
to start.
yeah.
So I mean,
No, that's absolutely a good point. Like from what I've seen, Cathedral Prep doesn't really like extend their bounds. Like
I think
crazy
Kennedy
like
Catholic
that, yeah.
recruits bigger than Prep does right now.
especially for basketball.
For basketball, yeah.
Or three times
Meadville
running.
plays this year.
Three
And what I'm
states in a row.
and they do that to a right now. Most of them don't, because of the transfer rules, can't recruit anyone once they get into high school.
Right.
If you put the limitations on those private schools and they break away, they'll recruit people with their senior year, junior year. They'll be pulling your best players out.
But I think something has to be done for the playoff system, though, because the public schools is
But that's it. That's what I'm saying. If you separate the playoff system and saying, well, you're going to only have private, you're going to have public. So you're saying we're going to treat you differently because you're a private school. You have your own playoffs.
Yeah.
Then they're going to say, why pay the PIAA those dues? We'll just make our own.
I think the public schools are saying the same thing. Why are we in the PIAA if they're not going to help us?
They are helping.
Public
you.
schools are about ready to break away.
There are transfer rules in place to try and stop that, and they're trying to make them better.
Yeah.
If the private schools pull away, there will be no transfer rules.
How are they trying to make them better?
The transfer rule now is what they're saying. Schools that do pull in a lot of transfers, like a Cathedral Prep,
Can only do
which
it in
doesn't
the
really. If they pull in a lot of transfers and they're a winning team, then they have to play up classification.
So Kennedy Catholic volunteered to go up to
They're
6A.
they're
They
right.
pulled themselves up in basketball anyway.
They also extended the amount of time that a person has to wait to play, right?
Oh, did they?
That kid has to wait to play.
Yeah, what is you have to sit out a full year. If you transfer during the school year.
3 sport seasons. So if they play like football and baseball, they can't play either football or baseball when they transfer. For a year.
This is something new they passed starting this
think
year.
so.
And it seems,
I think that's
from what I've been seeing too, down in the Pittsburgh area where I'm from, it seems like the Whippeal, or their district, District 7, is much more strict on transfers than the state. Because you will see the Whippeal will turn down, no, he's transferring for athletic purposes. No, they're living out of district, they can't transfer. But then they'll appeal, and what has happened, the state will let them in. So that was always a big frustrating thing down in the Pittsburgh area for a lot of the
Will
schools.
this help then?
I believe that's probably, I'm sure they championed this, more strict movement from the PIAA.
Right. Well, I mean, District 10 doesn't really care who transfers where. They
Not
proved that.
exactly.
They proved that this past year when they lost. After they won the state championship, their quarterback graduated, their top 2 receivers graduated, and then the quarterback from Fairview and the top receiver from McDowell all transferred to area prep because now they knew they could get on the team.
Yes.
And it's shady too when you have juniors transferring or seniors transferring.
And Matt's exactly right, because those administrators and coaches from Fairview and those schools really pushed into this too from Erie. They made a big splash about this is unfair because, again, you have the other kids around your team and all of a sudden their leader's gone. He's playing for prep.
It's got to be so frustrating.
Yeah,
Man.
and hey, we might win 3
kid.
games now.
He goes through your
that'd
system.
be like if Meadville had lost Journey Brown after his sophomore year or his 9th grade year and he left.
To put it in like college football comparison, it'd be like you groom this kid, you redshirt him, you work him up to senior year, and then he's like, I'm gonna go play for Notre Dame. This really kind of stinks. Like, I don't blame them for being mad. They should be.
And the communities have been upset, so I'm glad that PIAA is finally listening to the people and trying to help the situation. So prep can they recruit anywhere still, or it has to be Erie? Somebody said
Technically they're not allowed to recruit.
No, I know.
No matter what.
But it has to be just the Erie area now? That's what somebody said. They're trying to limit it to like Kennedy Catholic, just the Mercer County area.
No, they still don't have any boundaries.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
technically,
what other people were pushing
if you ask
for.
them, they'll say that the only people they recruit are kids who are going to their,
What grade does that start, Matt? Like if I'm in 7th grade and I decide I want to go up and play with prep, is it still at what year do I sit out? My 8th grade year?
No, it only starts if you transfer if you transfer
In high school.
in high school. So
ninth grade.
If you're in 9th grade and you transfer
After 9th grade.
even 9th grade, like if you transfer in the middle of your 9th grade year, you would have to sit out. Like if you transferred, say, after the football season to Cathedral Prep, then you'd have to sit out a year. So you'd have to sit out the basketball season, the baseball season, and then the following football season.
So this is put in.
There is a thing to
Fairview
it.
then losing their quarterback and went to prep because he already been established as a quarterback.
There is a
But
thing to it though.
It
like,
doesn't happen for 2 more years
it's only for
because it goes in 2-year cycles, so they can't do it for 2 years. I don't know why. They might that part of it they might institute right away, but the playing up, because they go by a 2-year cycle.
Playing up makes sense, but the transfer rule they could implement now if they wanted to.
I'm not sure if they're doing that one or not. I'll have to double check that.
Okay.
But like I said, they're trying to make it to listen to the public schools and see what their complaints are.
And so many public schools, their enrollment's decreasing so much.
Yeah.
Which gives you less talent to pick from for your sports.
Right.
And I think it really helps up in this area as well for Cathedral Prep to say, hey, they're coming here because they want a Catholic education. It has nothing to do with athletics. Because it helps because it's just Cathedral Prep and what Mercer is Prep. Those are pretty much the only 2 real private schools in the region for the most part for football.
And Kennedy.
And Kennedy down south. So, for the northern half of the district or whatever, I think Cathedral Prep and Merciers can always just say they want to come here for a Catholic education.
No, somebody told me Philadelphia's going back out of the PIAA. Have you heard that?
I have not heard that.
I mean, when this takes effect, the schools in Philly said, forget about it. We'll go back in and do our own thing again.
If they do, then you're going to see the public schools jump right back up to the state titles. Because
Right.
those are the schools that are really
But I guess because what you said, I guess they feel like all of a sudden people are slapping us in the face because we're getting kids and we're winning, and they're saying like, well, if you're going to do that to us, you're not going to let us get who we want. We're going to still get who we want. We're going to be our own league. Mm-hmm. They can still do that then, right? If they're not in the PIW, they can go and recruit anybody they want.
Yep.
Yeah, but they won't have the ability to compete for it, and then I mean, if you take away the prize, well, it doesn't even matter.
No. See, that's the state title's not the prize. You go out and you get the best kids. You go out in the country. You play the best teams.
Yes.
You're going to the best colleges.
Them,
you're going to the best.
You're
going to the NFL. You're going.
You go to.
I was just speaking for it for kids like that go to Meadville. Like the state championship is a huge accomplishment.
But they'd be helping the public schools even more, like Matt said, and Matt's right. Then you go into tournaments, basketball. You're going to DC. You're going to the big tournaments.
You're playing on ESPN.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's their goal.
Right.
I mean, they shouldn't really be taking away the state championship prize from schools.
No, you're
that
right.
Are, like,
and right now
working for
they
that.
don't care.
No.
If they don't care about it, they should just play their national TV games.
What I'm saying is, if the private schools pull out and they go that route, that's what then, if you're a kid who's really good, say Journey Brown, would you rather play for a state title or play on ESPN and be seen by?
Well, Journey made that very clear because there was some inkling, some people around Erie were making inroads to him when he was a sophomore. And he very much told people, "I love Meadville. I'm playing here.
Right.
Leave me alone."
But
some kids are like that. Yeah. That's cool.
I mean, not all kids are like that. He was very unique in that sort.
But the other aspect of that, if they would have said, "Hey, come here, you're going to play on ESPN, be seen by Notre Dame," that might change.
It's hard to say.
Right.
And those tournaments,
I'm not saying he would. I'm not saying he would have went.
No, but I mean, it's hard to say. No, there's no doubt about that, man.
When you could throw that little package in there as well.
And talking about Journey Brown, he will be in Pittsburgh. Second game of the year, Penn State, and from what I'm hearing is he could be one of the leading kick returners for Penn State this year. And I guess he had told me himself he's third on the depth chart as a running back, but somebody told me that their second running back might have some injuries already, which could move Journey up, and you can see a lot more playing time than people thought. So, I encourage all Meadville fans, if they haven't done so, when this is aired on TV, I went online the other day, and it's funny, I went on the Pitt website, and you can go to their games for like $40, $50, $60, except for the Penn State games, like $200 and some bucks a ticket. Yeah. Because they know that's going to sell.
That's the rivalry now. Yeah. This is one of the last ones, right? I think after this year or maybe after next year, they don't play them anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to I think they'll redo that contract because
they should.
It's beneficial to both.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean,
they need to redo West Virginia too.
Now let me put you guys on the spot. You guys are the Tribune Sportswriters. One of you guys or a couple of you guys going to go down and cover that? Seeing the Journey local product playing for Penn State.
I sent the Pitt Aid, the media guy down there email about getting credentials. I haven't heard back from him yet because obviously with the off season, they're probably not doing a whole
probably
lot,
on vacation.
So you guys are planning on covering that then. That'd be good. Maybe do a little article on Journey, or if you get seen, or a picture or something. How cool would that be? I tell you what, when he was getting recruited by Penn State, Coach Collins told me the Penn State running back coach told him that he could be something special for them. Mm-hmm. If things, stay injury-free, gets bigger, continues to do well at school, which he did pretty well his first year in academics. So that's an exciting thing. He's an outstanding young man. He kind of lights up a room when he goes in.
And their offense is pretty loaded. McSorley's a great quarterback.
Yes.
The guy in front of him, Miles Sanders, was like a 5-star blue chip recruit coming out of high school, and they should be pretty good.
McSorley's one of those guys you don't really know if he's going to translate to the NFL, but you can't deny his ability to make plays.
Great college player.
Yeah,
the only question mark on my mind for them is the tight end.
Yeah, it was big loss last year.
Yeah, he was great.
Gilsicki.
And the other thing too is you're in that conference with Ohio State, and they just reload too. Urban Meyer's going to recruit.
Not just that, you're in the same division in the conference.
That's what I mean.
As Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State.
Well,
Wisconsin just makes it the
well, I'll tell you what.
every time.
Watch out for Michigan. Harbaugh's finally got his guys where he wants them.
I guess.
We'll see.
He takes them all over the world. Yeah. Would they go to Italy?
We'll see. I'll be interested to see if he doesn't do something this year. I wouldn't be surprised if
almost
he's
gotta
on a
do-
short leash next
Yeah,
year.
he's got to almost do something because he's been telling that university he's going to be doing it. And they
Yeah,
haven't
the
done
man
it
sure
yet.
can't talk. That's for sure.
In that side of the conference, though, the games that are always the X Factor games is the Michigan State games.
Yes.
Because one of those three, one of the Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, one of them always loses to
And
Michigan
that's what
State.
hurt Penn State last year.
Yeah.
Michigan State game.
I think
Man, they
Michigan
had
lost
it.
to them too.
The other one that always seems to pop up and ruin someone's year is Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa, yeah. Iowa
Who's-
demolished
Kenner
Ohio
keeps
State.
back in Iowa.
Yeah.
Was he back there? In
Yeah.
the, he got back. Okay.
They're
I was
supposed to be
wondering where he
Quarterback
was.
coach.
They're supposed to be
coach.
pretty good this year too. Their quarterback's coming back. Iowa's.
I tell you what, though, he did a good job recruiting in this area. And we've got Sanders to go there and stuff when he was
Ain't
up
cool.
here. Yeah, you're right. So maybe he'll be getting this area again
Yeah.
to recruit. I'm glad to see he's back at Iowa. Did a good job here when he was at Allegheny too. That's cool. We got some time left here, Jim. Let's put you on the spot. What's going on at the Gatorland? Anything new? I know you got a couple new sports coming up.
Yeah, field hockey and
Is
men's
field hockey
lacrosse,
starting to fall?
They will be next fall.
Okay.
So they announced the sport. It was last October. Hired Coach Lohr in the winter. She's just basically been trying to recruit. So she has a whole year to recruit the team, and
That's
then we
good.
can play next year. At the new facility, I don't know.
Where's that gonna be
it
located?
Will be up at. I thought you said you were watching last week's episode.
I did, but I'm just wanting to get it out.
No,
I know
yeah,
exactly
it will
where.
be at the stadium, pretty much behind the end zone, behind the left end zone. Of
When's
the
that going
stadium.
to get started?
Anytime now. I believe they have the permits and stuff. They have the blueprints and everything. It should be pretty cool. Turf field, lights. Actually, it's also going to be a brand new soccer game field and a brand new soccer practice field, in addition to the turf field, which will have field hockey, soccer, and lacrosse on it. So it will be pretty cool. I think that should help with recruiting when you start the new program. Not only are you getting a new team, you're getting your own place. You're getting your own field. And men's lacrosse will start in the spring of 2020. Same kind of deal. Coach Pierce was hired a couple weeks ago, early June, and has been spending the summer recruiting. He'll spend the whole year recruiting, and then they'll have the team in place. They'll start practices next fall, and then they'll be in action February of 2020.
As looking for football for Gatorland, you've probably seen recruits come up here and.
Well, they got a lot of players back from last year when they made a lot of strides, especially on that offense. Logan
They'll be
Lee's
coming here pretty soon, right?
August 8th, yes.
Yeah.
August 8th is move-in day. You got Logan Lee back at quarterback, Victor, Baycheck, Rhodes back at wide receiver, Balab and Sellers back at running back. On defense, you got Buzzard, Davenport.
That's what I think
Craig
they need to
Naylor.
make a little more stride this year.
I think that I will, because Colton Buzzard last year had 24 tackles for loss, and Marcus Davenport had 7 sacks. I think up front there will be fine, but it's the
big
secondary and the safety play. I think they need to cut off some of the big plays as were hurt last year.
Right.
If you remember that Wabash game, that was just up and down the field the whole game. One of the most fun games I've ever been to, but it was tough because we lost. Same with the Worcester game early on. It was just a lot of long pass plays, a lot of long, busting coverages and stuff. But I think, they were all sophomores on defense last year. I think that move up into the juniors this year will help them as well.
And they'll be stronger. They've gotten stronger the last 2 years.
Yeah.
They're physically stronger.
Yeah, and you can see. I mean, if you just look at a guy like Alex Victor, you should see him.
Yep.
He came in probably 5'7", 130. I bet he's up
Playmaker,
to
that kid.
160 now.
He is a playmaker.
Yeah, he's the most electric player in
Wow.
Division III football.
I
I will
agree.
say that. It makes Logan Lee's job a little easier. Just throw the ball up over the middle, and Alex will come underneath
He had a
it.
good year last year too, Logan.
Yeah, he was very.
grew up a lot.
He was. It was a tough year to be a quarterback in the NCAC because I think he could have been. He
Yes.
set every school record, 3,000 yards, 34 touchdowns. He easily could have been all-conference quarterback, but you had the kid from Worcester who put up incredible numbers, and you had the kid from Denison who put up incredible numbers, and Logan was the odd man out. But I think he should have a big year this year. He'll be back with a lot of weapons.
I think the community in Meadville gets excited when Allegheny's good in athletics. What do you guys think, Matt? You've been here a long time.
Oh yeah, I remember going back to the year they won the national title,
1990.
and just going down to Westminster and watching them play them. And I think it was during spring break, and like everyone in the crowd was Meadville. I don't think there was anyone from Greenville area down there or New Wilmington. It was just like Meadville people on the one side just lined it up, Allegheny students, Meadville fans, and that was when Allegheny was at its peak. O'Keefe was bringing in some of the top
And so
Division III talent that could be found.
And before him, Peter Voss brought in a lot of talent too.
Yeah.
But
Well, people forget that team that he won with was all Peter Voss's recruits.
I know, it was all Peter Voss's recruits.
He moved some people around.
Yeah,
And he put
right.
O'Brien at running back. And
Right. He had a good staff because two of them were in the pros, including himself. But he had the guy that was the head coach of the Dolphins for a few years was on Ken's staff then, and there's another guy, I forgot where he is now, was on Ken's staff. So
Yeah, he was
remember who
Tampa
that-
Bay, the linebacker.
Well, Stanley Drayton too, and he is
yeah.
now the offensive coordinator at the university, or the associate head coach at the University of Texas.
Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Texas.
yes, the Longhorns.
Wow.
He went from Ohio State to Texas.
There's a program that's really looking to rebound too.
Yeah.
Is Texas
Yeah.
football. Wow.
Well, I think Jeff's telling us to wrap it up, but you
And-
could probably make this a 2-hour show next time.
we might. Jeff was telling us we might do this periodically. Have a little bit, sports reporters get together and talk about topics of interest locally. Also, one thing I do want everybody to know that even so, Meadville and Cache are in different regions in football. They still maintain their game, and it'll be the second game of the season. Will be at Cache this year, but that rivalry's really grown into really a cool thing locally.
Yeah, it's fun because I think both communities know each other pretty well.
Right.
I played softball with guys who lived in Lionsville, or I went to school with people who moved to Lionsville, or
Right.
So I think the communities are pretty close. I think they know each other well. I think the kids playing have learned to know each other a lot better through other sports and endeavors that they've kind of combined on with District 1 now not having community teams. Now they're kind of more regional. Right. So it is interesting. It's fun, and certainly I don't know if the second game will do it, but that would be a great opener, I think.
Yeah.
It would be a great way to open the season. Meadville Cache right out of the back.
I think now that they're in different leagues too, they have the league schedule takes precedent, and then they have to work around it.
Right.
All right. Well, as Jim said, Jim, Matt, Jordan, thank you for your opinions. Got the Bills, Steelers, Dolphins.
Yeah.
That's right. Steelers and Jets. So at least one of the people up here are going to have a good season. Jim would probably be you.
Oh, in the AFC too.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for watching Sports Close Up on Armstrong.